Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dual Screens Crossplay Podcast. If I haven't alienated you and made you shut off the stream and or video already, well, what are you waiting for? I'm Stephen Fontana. I'm one of your hosts, and with me, as always, he's over there. Is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
How to lose your audio dwindling fan base.
Just one simple sound. One sound is all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. No, I have a lot of energy today for today's show. I'm very excited. We already recorded a bonus show. We did our pre-show, and now we're here. We've been recording for an hour already, and I am high energy. Andy, how about you?
I agree. I feel like it's going to be a great show tonight.
Better be.
There's fun topics on the docket.
Kind
of rhymes a little bit, and if it kind of rhymes, it's going to be great.
Fun topics on my docket.
That's a golden rule.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what the hell you're listening to or watching right now, it's very simple. This is the Dual Screens Crossplay Podcast, the internet's #1 gaming news podcast starring two people you've never heard of, probably. The show posts each and every Tuesday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, Podbean. And it goes up later as a video on demand on youtube.com/DualScreensTV. And why do I say later? Because we record it live on twitch.tv/DualScreensStreams, and you can watch live with us together, holding hands and having fun, just like our chat is right now. And if you want to support us with your hard-earned cash dollar bills, you could do so by going to patreon.com/dual NDS podcast, patreon.com/NDS podcast. And we want to thank our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, Vegas Girl on Fire, and FNH Paul. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support. And remember, folks, just $1 gets you a ton of content. So think about supporting us there, and we'd be very, very appreciative. Andy.
Yes.
I played a lot of multiplayer games this last week because, as you know, through the month... Yeah. Well, no, it's been fun. Through the month of whatever this just was, August, I did co-streaming on my streams. Every single stream was with another streamer, so we had to play a lot of multiplayer games. So most of what I'm going to talk about right now in our Adventures in Gaming... I'm sorry. Adventures in Gaming is I played Apex Legends. Game is still really good. It's got some problems, but it's still really good.
Got some problems.
I played Fortnite. Ooh, I'm still very bad at Fortnite.
Did you use your Batman skin when you were playing?
Yes, always. Not always. Actually, I rotate all the skins that I have because I like them. What else? I played Valheim some more. Valheim was good. But yeah, I mean, it was a bunch of that this week. So it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. But Andy, you have been, and this coming month is all solo games. So I'm only going to be playing single player games, which I let the people vote on. So the first game I'm going to be playing is Death Stranding, which I haven't played in a very long time, really since it came out, and I wasn't really too big of a fan. So I'm going to dive back into that. And I'm doing a 12-hour stream this Saturday, twitch.tv/batchild. A 12-hour stream this Saturday, 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. I will be playing Returnal until I beat it. If I beat it, then I'll move on to another game. So good Lord. Good Lord. Andy. Good Lord. Now,
you know, I'm kind of shocked. Yes, me. I'm kind of shocked you're not going to wait for the director's cut to go back and revisit that.
It wasn't my choice. Well, I guess I did put it on as a thing to vote for, but...
You did.
Oh, I did. So the reason why I did that is because I didn't think anyone would vote for it.
Oh.
Why? Like, I was like, listen, make it so that I don't have to play. Like, because if it gets no votes, I'm not going to put it back on the list for the next game, the next time I do this.
Very much on the list. Okay. That explains that. Well, I've been playing a lot of stuff.
Yes. Stuff
that is some demos, which are available now on Steam, which I think everyone should go check out. Two games I want to shout out in particular. One game called Rosewater.
Yes.
Which we have a fun interview coming up for that game at some point before the year is out. Hopefully.
It's recorded. Just put it that way.
Maybe, yeah.
That is going to go up in early access at some point on Patreon very soon.
Right.
Probably.
But it's a point and click game like set in a Western town, and it's like Western vibes, cowboys, that kind of stuff. It's interesting. and you should play it because I want to see if folks get to the same point that I did, where I thought I could beat up an old man with a slab of tile.
You could always beat an old man with a slab of tile.
So there's that. Then there's a game I found called the Lunar Effect, also on Steam. It is a lo-fi PS1 type.
Yes, I've seen this.
Horror, tank controls, the works. Great atmosphere. It's such a throwback. It's too short for a demo, but it makes you hype for the actual thing when that's going to come out at some point. So that's two demos. And then for actual games that are out now that I'm enjoying, I went back to Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I hopped over to Iki Island.
Iki Island, yeah.
You know, that game, it was gorgeous before. It is gorgeous now, even more.
I want to play Iki Island.
Dude, the fast travel in that game, you blink and you miss it. That's how fast it is.
Yeah.
I'm like mesmerized by that. So great. The Fun Island, it's very colorful and purple and awesome. And I'm suffering the whole like, what are the controls again for this game? Like how do you change sub weapons? What's attack? How do you change stances? So I'm slowly getting it back. After playing Metal Gear for like a month, I'm just like, how do you play other games besides Metal Gear? So thankfully, the other game I played is a point and click game, so not a lot of controls for that. So it's a simple moving a little cursor, and that's 12 minutes.
Yes.
Which, so thoughts on this game? The premise of this game sold me alone, but the first thing you see when you open this game up is there's you're entering your apartment building or your whatever the fuck where you live place, and the carpeting is like a Shining reference. It is that same like weird pattern of like shapes.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, that's cool. That's a reference to Shining. And I'm like, we just got here and we're already like throwing like, oh, we know cool stuff that you can look at and say, oh my God, I know what that is. And I'm like, okay, we just got here.
Little homages.
we're just here. Let me get in the door. We're gonna start slapping my face with shit. But that aside, it's a little addicting, that game, because the logic of how things work isn't really clicking with me yet. So the basic premise is you come home from work and your wife is like, I made us a fun dessert. Special occasion. Right. Whenever you want it, we can eat. Cool. And from that point, you can explore your house. You can lie down the bed. You can go to the bathroom. You can get a glass of water. You can talk to your wife about the book she's reading, about her day. Then you can eat dessert. Fine. At some point, inevitably, always, a cop shows up to the door.
12 minutes, by the way.
12 minutes, yes. And
yes,
he says
12 minutes in.
and he zip ties up you and your wife.
Yes.
The thing cops do, I guess. Yes. Handcuffs or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he demands that your wife give him a pocket watch. And that your wife is also guilty of killing her father 8 years ago.
Right.
And he wants a pocket watch. It's like, you're guilty of murder, give him the pocket watch. And if you intervene in some way, he will punch you, and that apparently kills you, and then you restart the loop.
Right.
Again. And then from that point, it's trying to find out shit to convince your wife that
because the character knows. The character knows what's going on. So which is a cool mechanic, because it basically it's kind of like Live Die Repeat, where you take or the Edge of Tomorrow, where you take your all the shit that you learned, you now realize that you're on a timer, so you have to take the shit you learned and get through the things that you know are going to happen as quickly as possible. Like I remember there's a point where you could like your wife will like surprise you with something, but then then you die, and then you come back and you already know the surprise. So you're trying to prove to her that something's fucked up. So then you can just be like, here's the surprise. I know what it is. I know what's inside it, whatever. So like, just to get through things, a little quicker, which is a cool mechanic. And I could see where that's addicting, where you're just like, okay, let me one more day, one more loop, one more loop.
the addicting part is trying to find out how the logic works. Like there's a knife on the table.
Right.
So one of my thoughts is, can I give my wife the knife to defend herself against the cop? Because if you try to stab the cop, you can stab him, but he still overpowers you in some ways. So it's like, well, that's not going to work.
He's super cop.
So, So if you try to hand her the knife, the only option is to kill her. So I'm like, why can't I just give her the knife to kill the cop? And then like another part is you can drug your wife with sleeping pills. So she goes to bed, which is not in view of the cop when he comes into your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And you can call the police on her cell phone or call for an ambulance. And the only option is I drugged my wife.
Yeah.
Why,
he says the truth a lot. Yeah.
Why can't you just say like, hey, my wife is passed out, send over a car? But it's always like, we'll be there in 15 minutes. So that's like, okay, so I can't.
That's more than 12 minutes.
So that's no longer an option.
Right. So it's basically you come up with a checklist of shit that you can do. Let's try not to spoil.
And then
we're spoiling quite a bit.
Too much. But I will say this though, it's sort of like a really fun, like a teleplay in a sense, like a stage play.
Yep.
And really fun performances by Willem Dafoe, James McAvoy, and I think Daisy Ridley, I think is her name.
Daisy Ridley.
The actress. And I'm not sure how they're playing these characters. They sound like odd when they're in their line delivery. It just makes it like kind of
like a radio drama. They sound like a radio drama.
It sounds like David Lynchian in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's dreamlike delivery of lines. Right. It's kind of cool. But so I'm like an hour deep in that, which is like nothing. It's just trying to find out how to do shit and how to get to a point where like, okay, I've learned enough now to move to the next plateau in this game.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun, and I want to see how it goes, what the backstory of these characters are, how they're more fleshed out. Because I feel like this whole thing is more. Story is a huge thing in this game.
Yeah, I had the ending spoiled for me, so just.
Fuck.
Prepare yourself.
God damn it.
It's fucked up. All right, guys, let's get into the indie news update. Andy, what do you have for me? Because I actually have something that I'm going to share with you. I just got a review code for a game that kind of piqued my interest, and I want to put it on everybody's radar here. It's called The Magister.
Oh, okay.
It's a murder mystery card battle RPG where the murder is different every time you play. So it's like got rogue elements. So you have to figure out. So here's some key features here. You should look this up. It's really cool. Randomly generated murder mystery. A walkthrough won't help you here. The events, clues, motives, and murderer change with every playthrough. Only you can identify the guilty suspect. Tactical card-based encounters. Your combat and negotiation skills are determined by the cards in your deck. Use a vast array of cards such as Heartstopper, Poison Slash, Weak Joke, and Long Talk. You could pacify enemies for a peaceful outcome. Use tactical diplomacy as an alternative to fighting, and calm foes with your conversation cards to reduce their rage to level to 0. You could choose different magisters, and they all come with their own specialties and flaws. From a cunning alcoholic to an intelligent insomniac, every variation defines a different adventure. Okay. I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this.
Really cool.
You have 14 days to wander the town to figure out the mystery. 14 in-day games.
I'm like here for that.
Yeah, I'm going to be streaming that, I think. I'm going to choose a day to do indie games, and I think I'm going to stream this game. Because we are allowed to stream it, and then, of course, I'll do a review for dualscreens.com. But yeah, that's all my indie news update, because this game looks really dope, and our friends at Digerati, I believe...
I love those guys.
Our friend Mike at Digerati got me a code for that, so I'm really excited to check this one out. But you can look it up yourself. It's The Magister. Yeah, so what do you got?
Potential guest on the show, you think?
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely. We should definitely do it.
I'm very into that. Blasphemous, one of my favorite 2D side-scrolly Dark Souls roguelike makes you want to kill yourself games that have existed, is getting some free LC.
Unlife yourself.
Yes, some free LC.
Free LC?
This December. I love it. And we're getting a sequel in 2023. So there's that.
I mean, sure. I get whatever. I don't know if we needed that information, but that's fine.
I feel like you're announcing free DLC coming out very soon, like in a couple of months. Awesome. And then maybe announce the sequel next year.
Right.
You can actually show it, and it's only a year away. Not
Right.
oh, this is coming out too, but it's a while from now, and we can't show it to you yet because it doesn't exist. Probably.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to get into the Dual Screens Report, and we're kicking it off with everybody's favorite brand, PlayStation. We're just saying that just outright, you know, PlayStation is best station, so that's just the way it is. We can't help it. Just joshing. Ladies and gentlemen, the new PS5 model has been dissected, and there is some controversy as to how this new PlayStation is both breaking even in cost for Sony, but also weighs about a half a pound less. So Evans, which is a popular YouTuber that Austin Evans, excuse me, that takes apart these things and tests them. The biggest difference, the really only difference here that's noticeable, is the heat sink is about 30% smaller, which they have tested, and it turns out it also makes the console run at about 6 to 10 degrees warmer as well. So this caused a lot of people to kind of go up in an uproar. So here's what Evans says here. Evans concludes that the changes make the PS5 worse due to the extra heat he recorded. That could well make the launch PS5s more desirable if it's something we see replicated elsewhere. I don't, quote, I don't think there's any argument that this is a worse console, at least, that this is a worse console, at least for the thermals and cooling, says Evans. As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have a launch PS5. That's understandable. But there was a rebuttal to this. Jeff Grubb did some analysis here. The new PlayStation 5 model is not actually worse. And it's a picture of a PlayStation 5 with an atomic bomb behind it, and I love that. The mushroom cloud. I think that's hysterical. So he goes into talk about Austin Evans' video. Based on that smaller heatsink, Evans and others have come to the conclusion that the new PlayStation 5 model is worse than the original. But that's a squishy statement that doesn't really line up with how we buy and use a gaming console. In his video, Evans found that the new PS5 was putting out hotter air than the original PS5, and with the smaller heatsink, it makes sense that the overall cooling assembly is getting hotter before it's able to push the air out. But that difference is a matter of 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, which shouldn't impact performance, and that's where I fail to see how the new PS5 is worse. I suppose you could claim that the latest PS5 model is worse if you were purchasing it as some sort of weird silicone cooling toy, but most people are probably purchasing it to play video games, and both the original and revised hardware play the same games with the same performance. On top of that, Evans' new PS5 was actually quieter. So while the new system was putting more heat into the room, it was also putting out less noise. While a lot of that comes down to the fan model your PS5 comes with, it's hard to declare the new PS5 worse if it's better at something key like noise pollution, which I don't really care for that thing. Imagine that this revision, I'm skipping down a little bit. You can find this, by the way, on VentureBeat. Imagine that this revision was actually a slim model with a new chassis and case. And then pretend that you opened the PS5 and found a smaller cooling structure. And while it runs a bit hotter, it's still well within spec and produces less noise. Would any of that sound strange or unacceptable? No. You would not hear those same complaints. You consider this PS5 revision in much of the same way. While it's not a slimmer case, it's definitely a similar style refresh for Sony. And he keeps going on and on, basically going into more detail about the arguments to it not being. Now, Eurogamer also chimed in with this. Eurogamer had a hands-on with the new PS5 also, which is called the CFI 1100. The new CFI 1100 series revision of PlayStation 5 is out, making its way to the market. Again, this is on Eurogamer. This is a Digital Foundry hands-on. Richard Ledbetter, as we know, he does all that stuff. He also talks about Evan's video. Evan's video is well worth the watch because regardless of how you view his take on the machine's thermal performance, you get to see exactly how Sony has changed the design, and just as importantly, where it has not. And this is crucial information. Yes, Wi-Fi does look different. The extent of which performance changes isn't tested, but the 300-gram weight loss seemingly comes down to mostly a new cooler design. There's no ifs and Buts about it. This is clearly and obviously a cost reduction exercise coming at the time where the platform holder can expect to shift millions of consoles as the holiday season kicks in at full force. So yeah, talking about what's more interesting is the evidence surrounding what has not changed based on Evan's data. Most critically, or crucially, excuse me, the power draw of the machine looks very similar to the launch model PS5 in a world where cost reductions on cooling assemblies are usually rolled out only when the main processor is transferred over to a smaller, more efficient process technology. So on the face of it, there are questions to be answered here, and fundamentally it comes down to this. If the chip isn't any cooler, and if the power requirements are the same, what has changed that justifies a significant cutback in the mass and materials of the cooler? It's a perfectly reasonable question, and he has asked Sony for comment. Let me pretty much draws the same amount of power as the original. I'm trying to find the quote here. Okay, here we go. Visiting the now infamous corridor of doom, a notoriously heavy area of the game, and this is from Control. Power utilization increases to 200 watts. Entering photo mode removes 30 frame cap rate, and adding further power draw peaking at 214 watts. So the power draw is still the same. So here's a little conclusionary paragraph here. I know this is long, but this is kind of, it's important to understand what we're going to talk about. Right. If the PlayStation 5 could work just fine with a cheaper, leaner cooler, why not just ship it with it in the first place? Without a word from Sony, we can't be sure, but in terms of production process, it's important to realize that when the console first comes to market, the separate components of the machine are created at the same time, in parallel, not in series. As the silicon rolls off the production line, the heat sinks are also being made. Nobody wants another red ring or yellow ring of death, or yellow light of death, so it makes sense to build redundancy into the design. There is a documented example of this of Xbox original Xbox One. The hardware architects saw that there was headroom in the thermal solution, so they increased the core clocks on the processor itself. The GPU went from 600 megahertz to whatever. Would it have made the machine hotter? Probably. Did it matter? Clearly not. So yeah, I mean, it's really basically just saying nothing really has changed. It runs a little warmer, but it's also kicking out that hot air based on the fan changes. So, and it's quieter. You're still getting your PlayStation 5, so I don't think it really matters.
I'm just trying to understand something from all this. I've been reading a lot of articles over the weekend when this news was like all over the place.
That was a lot of reading. I'm going to drink while you're talking.
Yeah, it was trending on YouTube, this Austin Evans video. It really goes to show you how many people in the world have what I call brain problems.
Yes, brain problems.
And fall for misinformation quite easily. Now, from what I can gather, Austin had the PS5 and he took temperature on the exhaust of the PS5. It was higher temperature on the exhaust end, which led him to believe that it's maybe hotter inside.
Well, so yeah, the air that's kicking out is from the inside.
The air that's being kicked out was hotter than the original exhaust.
Yeah, and they also did like a thermal camera where they saw it a little like hotter on the thermal camera as well. Yeah.
Right. And then people were saying how, well, if there's hotter air being pushed out, that means that the fans are doing their job and they're pushing out more hot air than is in the PS5. So it could be theoretically an even more efficient cooling system to the PS5. But if that's true or not, if this thing actually is running a little bit hotter going off of the exhaust on the PS5, both the original PlayStation 5 and this revision with less copper and a smaller heat sink, those temperature readings are still both lower than what the Series X produces. So I don't understand why people think this is going to overheat the system when Sony spent 2 years perfecting the cooling on the PS5 to get it just right. If it runs a little hotter, what is that going to do? I don't understand. People think that they're just going to produce to save a few bucks on the PS5 on the copper side. We're going to make a thing that's going to fail on you at some point, maybe. in the future. Again, I don't know how people think that this is going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of people that are a lot smarter than Austin Evans and even Digital Foundry dudes made this thing, so I'm really not worried about it. Although I would have said the same thing about the 360, and that thing my brother went through 3 of those. So
we live in the post Red Ring world,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
So again, maybe that was like Microsoft's it was their sophomore game console. Made a little bit more ambitious on the power side. Maybe
it was probably rushed a little bit because
they overlooked a few things, and then they course corrected and came back.
And they fixed it, yeah.
But what I'm also seeing with this heatsink is that Sony may have overcompensated the first time around, and put too much. Again, you're seeing redundancy before. They kind of built it over the top, and now this thing's been out there for like 6-8 months on the market. We can scale this back a little bit with the same results. It'll be a few degrees hotter, and we're going to be fine.
It could also have been, and again, we'll know when Sony makes a comment, it could also have been, all right, the PlayStation 5 could come out when we want it to, but we got to spend a little bit more on this bigger heatsink because the smaller one is not going to be available for 8 months.
Steven.
What do you want to do? Well, it's only going to run it cooler. Yeah, we're going to lose a little bit more money on each console, but we want to get the thing out the door and, meet our deadlines. Maybe that's the thing, but Sony's going to have to comment.
Steven, the OG PlayStation 3 that I found in the trash, I've been using it for like 6 months now on a regular basis. That thing sounds like I'm orbiting the planet.
You runs very well might be.
And it runs hotter than the sun, I imagine. Like when it's on, the entire entertainment center is like lava hot. It's like you can feel the heat coming off of the entire console.
Interesting.
Like
I don't think mine had that problem.
You walk by because it's in an enclosed space too. Because I'm an idiot, but it's just shoved in a nice little area. It has very little way to breathe. But that thing is doing just fine. It plays my games perfectly. Yes, it's scalding lava hot, but it still fucking works.
Right.
A PS5 a few degrees hotter than what is already cool. I don't think that's going to do much in the grand scheme of things.
Whatever. It's neither here nor there. Sony make a comment so we could get past this. Gamescom, Andy.
Oh, Gamescom release date roundup.
Yes. Tell me about release dates here, Andy.
Gamescom came and went with sound and fury signifying
we did
nothing.
Speak about pretty much everything on this list. But we're going to go over some release dates here.
It passed like a fart in the wind, and we have some fun release dates for some pretty big titles. And I picked out 5 noteworthy games to discuss. First off, Forza Horizon 5 out November 9th. Sifu out February 22nd next year. The Saints Row reboot, which was debuted at Gamescom, is coming out next year on February 25th. Halo Infinite is out December 8th, 2021. And lastly, the confirmation of Horizon West slipping into next year on February 18th, 2022. February is stacked. And Kotaku hates that fact, apparently.
I imagine one of these is getting kicked from February, but maybe Sifu, just because it doesn't want to get eaten alive.
I don't know. I think Sifu is small scale enough that it could be like I'm gonna get this and Sifu.
Yeah, I'm thinking for like social media discussion, like streamers. They're gonna be all about like the big games and I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Speaking of streamers, Operation Boycott Twitch is in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. Which, of course, we are live on twitch.tv/dual-screen-streams. But I will not be streaming tomorrow on twitch.tv/batchild, as we're all doing a walkout on Twitch for the day. But Dr. Lupo is defecting to YouTube Gaming. That's right. The doctor himself, Lupo Doctorson, I believe is his given name. Yeah. So after his 2-year agreement is over with Twitch, he's done. He's going over to YouTube. And his stream was today. So congratulations. But yes, I'm sure this has nothing to do with the current whole like boycotting Twitch thing, but uh, you'll see a lot. Basically, these streamers are becoming free agents in like sports, or like a TV show or whatever, and these platforms are now bidding for them to stream on their platform. Like Twitch giving him millions of dollars to go and stream on Twitch. YouTube is probably like, we'll double it, like whatever. Like it's just fighting for talent. That's what this is. They're growing their catalog. Yes, some streamers are going to move because they're forced to, or because they just like the platform. But like the big streamers, it's a contract thing, man. They're doing it wherever the money goes. That's where they're going to go. But the Twitch boycott thing is, of course, all because of these new hate raids that are happening, that are completely ridiculous. It's just these bot accounts that raid channels and put absolutely abhorrent, racist, and awful things with links to like terrible imagery, and like they bombard chats, and they're doing it for big streamers, little streamers. I've seen it personally myself happen.
Oh my God.
And it's just awful. Like there's really no way to do it because there's so many bots that do it, that spam the chats, that like you would have to literally like stop your stream, delete your VOD, and then go and like physically ban all of those bots so that doesn't happen again. So, but Twitch has been largely silent on it. Their bot detection software is terrible. They are just terrible. And I was followed by one of these gatekeeper mod people, because there's a way that like you need to be following for like 10 minutes in order to like chat, and a lot of streamers do that. So like they'll have this like scout go in and follow for a little bit, and one of them came to me, or one of my streamer friends came to me and said, hey, that was one of the hate raid accounts, like ban it now. So I just banned it and got it over with. But yeah, it's a problem. So Twitch has just been largely silent. They're kind of letting this shit go. They're not taking enough initiative. They're not doing anything to really help the situation. So a lot of streamers are coming together, and they're going to not stream on September 1st. And hopefully the loss of revenue for that day, which you have to imagine is tens of millions of dollars for Twitch, will open some eyes and force their hand into at least making a statement on it. So we'll see. Speaking of a statement, Nintendo says, take our big old fold out cack, because we're putting Game Boy on the Switch. Andy, take it away.
Maybe. So there's a rumor that Nintendo will expand its Switch online service to include Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles as early as September. I feel like these rumors are a lot like the Switch Pro.
Oh, I see.
The idea of like Switch Online getting N64 games, inevitably Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. These always roll around after a few months go by, and I'll believe it when I see it. Honestly, Nintendo, who likes to charge $60 for like old ass games, or would remake an old Pokemon Game Boy game, why would they offer us a way to play old Pokemon games the way they were once?
I think, Andy, I have a theory.
When they could do like a Pokemon package and sell for $60.
Hold on. I have a theory.
Give me a theory.
I think the reason why they're doing their classic games the way they're doing it is because they resent Pokemon. I think Nintendo is so pissed off that arguably their best franchise ever is not by them. It's by the Pokemon Company. And I think that makes them angry. Like, we're gonna put Game Boy games on there, but we're not gonna give you Pokemon, because they're gonna just remake their Pokemon. We'll get our money there, like we'll get our free money. Basically, they're gonna do all the work. We're just gonna publish the thing and get all our free money.
I just don't understand, because Nintendo has like such a huge back catalog of awesome content on the Game Boy Advance, especially. I would love
Advanced, yes. The Game Boy itself is not great, but
Game Boy came with color some great games, but Game Boy Advance had a lot of amazing games.
It was basically a Super Nintendo in your pocket.
But those kind of games look nice enough where you could be like, let's just sell all the Pokemon games again, with enhanced sprites, now in 8K and like 120 FPS.
And all those Zelda games that were on
right,
and,
like Minish Cap and all that
Spirit
fun stuff.
Tracks, or no, that was 3DS, right?
The thing of it is, I don't even trust Nintendo to even, let's say they were to announce we're doing Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games. Great. Have you seen the last couple of SNES and NES additions to the Switch Online service? It's garbage.
Yeah, we're gonna get some
I don't know
shit
what,
that we don't care about.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not gonna give us the good shit, the real good shit, don't even freaking bother, because it's pointless. Pointless.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see if it's true.
Yeah.
Because again, these rumors are.
I have so Buzz in the chat says can't wait for Crash Test Dummies Game Boy game. I vaguely remember owning that, or like my friend owning it, and I played it. I think that game was fun. Right, that was a platformer where you like.
That was. I think it's a port of the Nintendo game.
Okay, I have vague memories of that game, and like
Crash
blowing up and the parts going everywhere.
So, I think I may have mentioned this before on the podcast back in the Nintendo days.
Nintendo dual screens days.
As someone that grew up watching a lot of horror films and was just deep into like Freddy, Jason, Chucky, Michael Myers. Wouldn't faze me, but that Crash Test Dummies commercial.
Oh,
it was like the dummy in the car, and then there's like a car accident. You'd be like, "Buckle up, dummy."
Yeah,
that shit, along with like the Dianetic Scientology commercial, would frequently give me nightmares as a child.
Wow. Okay, we're getting in there now. We're getting in there now.
Yeah. I'm getting a little heebly-jeebly when I hear the word Crash Test Dummies. It's just
I can't believe that was a cartoon and a line of toys. That's amazing that they turned that shit. That was a PSA, Andy. It was a fucking PSA, and it got a line of
commercialized.
And by the way, those toys were fucking awesome. They were so cool. Again, same friend had them. Actually, I'm living in his grandmother's house. His grandmother is my landlord. Go figure.
Lovely.
Big news coming out of the Smash Bros community. That's right, Andy. April O'Neil and Cat Dog are coming to Smash Bros. Oh wait,
I know. They're here.
Sorry, they're coming to Nickelodeon. Excuse me, All-Star Brawl.
Steven.
Yes.
I when I saw this video, it's even trying to copy how Nintendo announces a new addition to the Smash roster. They're not even hiding it anymore. It's like, this is a legit. We're just copying this. It's our stuff on top of this shit.
We're doing it too.
That's all it is. Yeah. It's like, you like this? Cool. We're going to slap our stuff on top of that and repackage it, and cool. It's this with Turtles and Cat Dog and Reptar and...
Yes. More importantly, though, April O'Neil is going to be a playable character in TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
That's super exciting.
That's the more exciting news.
Yeah. Yes, it is. But we got Reptar, we got Cat Dog, we got Helga, we got Patrick in this game now. It's man. Oh man.
It's a huge roster.
Wait, let me ask you something. Is that game going to be good? Like, do you think there's a chance that the Nickelodeon Smash Brothers clone is going to be good?
If games like Brawlout could exist and Brawlhalla exists that are very good brawlers and fun, and they're not trying to hide what they're inspired from, what they're trying to emulate or copy, those are good, fun games. I feel the approach seems to be, we're not trying to make it our own thing. We're not trying to PS All-Stars our way into this genre. We're one for one copying the Smash formula. If you abide by that rule and you take in just a delightful cast of iconic cartoon characters, this could be a lot of fun.
Theme of the show here, Andy, and it's going to be the name of this episode. I have a theory.
They do?
No, I have a theory. I think. Now, bear with me here. I think Nickelodeon wanted to get one of their characters in Smash Bros. And was turned down.
Oh shit!
Because they made that Ninja Turtle Smash clone.
I see that.
And then Nickelodeon said, "Well, fine, fuck you. We're gonna do it better."
Ooh.
That's what I think happened.
Isn't that how the PlayStation was born?
Exactly. Exactly. Nintendo did not learn. We're about to get the next best video game franchise of all time.
Wow. This is it.
All-Star Brawl. All-Star Brawl. Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. All-Star Brawl. They need to change that name immediately.
Oh, yeah. No, that you're embracing it.
Call it
so
Nickelodeon Brawl Stars. It was right there, Andy.
I know.
It was right there. Brawl Stars.
I really, truly know.
Yes. Speaking of theories, Andy, our last bit of news here has you semi-erect.
Yeah, speaking of things that are, again, old made new again and old shit that we love. Dead Space.
Yep.
Remake had a developer live stream today. So it looks good. But it also looks like it's like 10 years away.
Yeah, we got a while here, Andy.
From being real.
We have a while.
So it looks like the core mindset is we don't want to change what made Dead Space great. And we're going to stick to the atmosphere, the claustrophobia. It's going to look hyper real and hyper awesome. Like, you love those like stiff necromorph movements. Cool. We're going to keep those in without making them all like look super 60 FPS all over the place. And you take away from what made the original look so great. But one core takeaway from this, Steven, and I was a little shocked by this. And I'm kind of like, how do I feel on this? Because it's like, it's great, but I'm like, is it? Isaac Clarke, as you know, in the OG Dead Space.
Yes.
Silence protagonist.
Silent, yes. Well,
he was like riding high on the whole like Gordon Freeman vibe of like,
I mean, he did scream a lot and breathe heavily.
Right. Right. But as you know, so does Link.
Sure.
But he's still a silent protagonist. Yeah. So apparently it was confirmed today that the voice actor for Isaac Clarke in Dead Space 2 and 3, that was when he decided to speak for the first time, is actually on board to voice Isaac for the remake. So now we're having the remake, which is having a fully voiced Isaac as opposed to he was quiet and silent in the first version of the game. And I don't know how to feel about it. I loved the acting in 2 and 3, even though 3's story was trash and horrible gameplay. But the acting was fine. And I'm wondering how this will fit in the first game. Because a lot of what made the first game good was the quietness of Isaac, of him just sort of taking in all of what was going on around him. Yes, it's weird when someone dies and he has no reaction at all whatsoever. But again, it is what it is. But I like this guy's acting enough where I'm of two minds about it, where I liked how it was the first time around, but this is also exciting kind of a little bit. Yeah. So it could go either way. So yeah, I don't know.
Name of the episode. I have a theory.
Yes.
I have a theory. I believe
What's your theory?
That they saw Returnal and they said, we can do that with Isaac. She's alone, she's terrified, and she talks to herself and also has those recordings of herself. That could be a way that you can incorporate it, where it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be him having a dialogue with himself or with another character, but it could just be him doing things like,
I don't.
How am I going to get over there? Like stuff like that.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad you brought up Returnal, because Returnal did it so well as opposed to a game like The Medium, which was just, would you just stop talking?
Stop
for
speaking,
like
for the love of Christ.
Though I did mention it in the Discord, I really hope they bring back the motherfucker foot stomp that Isaac Clarke did in part 2.
Yes.
He was foot stomping on an enemy. That was great. So again, in moderation, I don't need him to be like, to describe the room or the emotions of the room or like every little detail of the room while he's in the room. Just give him enough to work with, keep him quiet for the most part, and then just have him react accordingly to things. That's it.
Maybe
that's my hope.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Every once in a while, you might go, "Come in, anybody hear me?" Something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to envision like the opening scenes of him being asked to go into a hallway to inspect like a thing.
Yeah.
Because like that's all the scene direction. Like, oh, Isaac, go check on that generator thing and like see if you can fix it. And it's like, cool, I'm Isaac. I'll go over there right now. So I'm wondering how it's gonna play with those scenes with the actual script. But
yeah,
we'll see how that works out.
We will see. And you know what else we will see? We will see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to bring us to the end of the show.
We're not going to go to the hype zone?
I'm sorry. I thought this was last week's. Never mind.
Oh.
No, we have a hype zone.
No.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that was changed.
I left the link out deliberately.
Okay.
Because I want to play a fun game with this hype zone.
Okay. Sorry, folks. We have a hype zone. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
I want you to have some theories about what this is.
Okay.
Okay. This comes from Kotaku.com.
Kotaku, thank you.
And the headline is the following. Final Fantasy XIV themed fried chicken goes on sale in Japan. Okay. Today in Japan, convenience store chain Lawson, that's a great place. It's like the bodega in Japan.
Okay.
We're in Japan. So
okay. Like an Optimo?
It's like the 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven.
Oh,
Japan.
okay. 7-Eleven of Japan. Got it.
Yes. Lawson launched Final Fantasy XIV chicken. What flavor is it? The Crystal of Light and Darkness, as the box states. Now, Steven, the next line reveals what exactly the Crystal of Light and Darkness is on the old flavor countryside. But I want you to guess. If I were to tell you, as you were eating a piece of delicious fried chicken, this tastes good. What's the flavor? And I told you, the Crystal of Light and Darkness, of course. What would you guess the flavors would be?
So one piece of chicken has both of those flavors?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not one is one and one's the other. Here it is. Here's the flavor. The Crystal of Light and Darkness. Can you guess what the flavors are?
The obvious guess here would be like a sea salt and like a cracked black pepper or something like that.
Yes.
Just a simple salt and pepper. That would be like a basic. Yes. But then if this is, so you didn't say wings. If you said wings, I was gonna say something like one would be like ginger, like a ginger sauce, and the other one would be like a death pepper.
Right.
Am I close here?
You're half correct.
Oh my. Is it Himalayan pink sea salt?
No.
Is it crap?
You have the
MSG.
You have the dark half right.
Oh, just peppercorn? Black peppercorn?
As noted.
Okay.
In parentheses. Pepper and tartar sauce flavor. The light part is the tartar sauce, while the dark part, it says park, it's a typo, shame on you, Kotaku, is the pepper. So there you have it, folks. A pepper and tartar sauce flavored fried chicken. Now, this is, of course, a thing they do in Japan because, according to this article, back in 2019, there was a garlic flavored limit break fried chicken that was released as well.
Right.
Japan, I love you. Don't ever change.
Huh.
Don't ever change.
Now, here I am thinking that they were going to try and dress this thing up like a chocobo. Because at least then it would be like kind of funny, you know? A chocobo looking wing.
Right. Or you can brand it as, that was all over Final Fantasy 15. There's a whole menu that they had, recipe book. It was like, okay, we're doing like chocobo wings or chocobo boneless wings.
Right.
Right.
They could do that.
But no. They did this crystal of light and dark and
tartar sauce?
Tartar sauce. And I'm going to put a link in the chat.
I've made tartar sauce before at my previous employer.
There's a picture of it, and it's not even subtle, the amount of tartar sauce and pepper that they use.
Oh no!
In this chicken.
Oh no!
I'm wondering what this tastes like.
Oh no!
It is not the prettiest looking thing
you'll
ever see.
Oh no!
It just looks like someone jammed some caviar into a chicken.
What is that?
I don't know.
That is terrible. Why would anybody eat that?
I'm telling you, Japan, they're just more evolved than we are, dude. They really truly are.
Their brains are so powerful.
They really
That's the only way that I could explain that, because their mind over matter is...
Dude, I really wish we had half the balls that Japan did when it came to like video game branding and like restaurants. When I was there, I went to like a Devil May Cry cafe, a Kirby cafe, a Final Fantasy VII theme cafe, a Square Enix cafe. There's like so many shops that embrace the games that we love and grew up with in Japan.
Why don't we have any of that stuff here?
Why can't there be like a Grand Theft Auto restaurant somewhere in LA?
Well, I have a theory, Andy. I have a theory. God. Because there is literally zero chance somebody doesn't get murdered at the Grand Theft Auto cafe.
But isn't that part of the experience?
They should just call it hot coffee.
Right. It has to be a coffee shop.
And it's just a coffee shop, hot coffee. Put it in Reno or where it's somewhere in Nevada.
Yeah.
Where they could have hot coffee with their hot coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Remember the Windows 7 burger in Japan?
Nope.
It was
I don't actually.
It was like a Burger King thing. It was like 7 patties.
Ding, ding. Oh.
It was 7 patties in a burger.
Oh.
Fucking heart attack special. Here's how you die in 1 bite. Here you go.
And that seems like a very American thing to do.
Right. It's funny when you go to their like McDonald's in Japan. It's it's looking at American restaurants through a Japanese lens. It's like, here's what it should be based on how we are.
We would give you the menu that they have, but we would rather not you die and cost us a lot of money to keep alive.
What's even more stunning is, God, the food tastes so good in the McDonald's. Like, that's like a meal. Like, tonight's dinner is McDonald's. To have the luscious like potato croquette thing that they have, which is amazing, or like the Big Mac teriyaki burger, because it's like cuisine almost. It's just amazing. Same for Starbucks too. There's Starbucks there. It's like, whoo.
I should go to Japan, but I'm afraid of Japan. I've heard every single time I have watched a documentary about Japan, there has always been a large sea monster or large robot destroying the city. That's why I don't go to Angel Grove. It's the same reason.
Stop it.
Because of the documentaries.
The fucking kaiju. I think Japan, if you go... Now, there's an ancient myth in Japan.
Oh.
It's the Mount Fuji curse.
Right, yeah.
That's if you go to Japan, you don't climb Mount Fuji.
I wouldn't climb Mount anything.
You are cursed to feel compelled to always come back to Japan until you do climb the mountain.
Oh, fuck.
So... And I feel like when I first went there, I've been there 3 times and I haven't climbed the mountain once, and I still want to go back. So maybe the curse is real. But I think if you go there and you see what it offers in all its avenues, all its little fun spots like maid cafes, for example.
I want to go to a cat cafe.
Dude, I don't think you'll ever want to leave if you go to Japan. I think it may take you forever. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying.
I want to go.
Okay.
Japan. Also, there are other documentaries that I've seen that there's apparently, I mean, we have them in the States too, but like Street Fighters, those are in Japan.
Yeah.
A lot of people named Ryu.
Yes.
Okay. I have a very limited knowledge of Japan. The Yakuza is there.
Yes, the Yakuza is there.
I don't want to mess with them. Although, do I? Like, I feel like they would be. I feel like they like Americans because they make fun of them and just get them drunk. Right? And is that correct?
Everyone has correct. Okay. Everyone has like pointy hair like Cloud, and everyone is rendered in low poly 3D.
Low poly, yeah.
And everywhere you walk, when you pay your bill or go into a door, you hear the Final Fantasy fanfare music.
You make fun, but I am pretty confident that sound is heard every day. There's no doubt in my mind that every single day when you go out and walk the streets of Japan, any Japan, you're going to hear that noise.
It's just about the only place where you can be told if you do the crane games, they're like rigged to make you lose all of your money.
Yeah.
You will still like a dumbass play the games.
Of course.
And you'll watch YouTube videos for 6 hours to try to beat it.
Right.
And that's not a personal story that I'm sharing at all, I think. Maybe.
No.
I didn't do that.
I bet you didn't. You're way too intelligent for that.
These big giant Gengars, Steven. These plushy Gengars. As big as my head. How can I resist?
No, I get it. I love you guys. Thank you for listening and watching the show. That's going to bring us to the end. This was a good episode. I had a lot of fun. Lots of energy in the room right now. We will see you next week. Every Tuesday we're going to be recording. It's on the calendar for every Tuesday, and we are putting up lots of bonus content on Patreon. So that would be a great time to join up on Patreon. The $3 tier gets you all the bonus that you could possibly want. And we also recorded Dual Screens and Dragons this weekend, so I'm going to be posting up that session as well. But that's for a higher tier. But that will also go on YouTube. YouTube.com/DualScreensTV. Andy, we have 12 interviews scheduled.
Well, I just want to make
10,
I want to make
because we did 2.
No, there's still 12.
Okay, there's 12. Right. Okay.
I want to say one remark on this. Yes. I remember when you and I decided to do this whole thing where we're going to
I know where you're going.
Where we're going with this. We're going to do an interview show weekly and then do like a game something or other also weekly. And we were told, how are you going to get guests every single week to come on your show? Is that a little bit risky? Like, what if someone doesn't show up? How are you going to find people, we were told, to come on your show every single week? I have to tell people, I don't know anymore if I can fit you in for the year. So that's where we're at with booking and scheduling. So,
yes. But we have
there's always going to be
huge one. We have a huge name. I believe is Sunday. We're recording that one. Do you want to spoil it?
Oh, that is Sunday. Okay, so last week's episode was about a little fun game called Tales of Iron. Which is about rats versus frogs. I think it's one of my best interviews I've done. Me and that guy had like so much chemistry. Good quality stuff. And the narrator for that game is Doug Cockley. Amazing last name, by the way, who is the voice of Geralt of Rivia, of a little game about witches, I think. Or something.
Yeah, some sort of demon guy.
Right. So, and the game is out September 17th. So I thought that's a Friday. Can we try to get Doug on the show to talk about being in The Witcher for like a bajillion years and also being in this rat frog game, what that was like. So I was told by the PR people, we can't get a hold of Doug. You gotta like talk to his people and see what they say.
That makes sense.
And I replied back, yeah, I'm just gonna DM him on Twitter and go from there. And sure enough, Doug replied back and he was like, this sounds like a lot of fun, because he did retweet the episode of the game last week. So I was like, okay, clearly we're on the radar. We poked the bear. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So this Sunday, we're talking with Doug, and that's going to be out on September 17th in about three Fridays from now.
Amazing. So, and we're recording that Sunday. So, folks,
yes,
seriously, join our Patreon. It's $1. Get in our Discord, and you can go to the mailbag and ask questions for our guests. We're going to have we're going to list, Andy, this is for you. You're gonna list all of our future guests, so people can prepare to give us questions for the guests.
Oh boy, okay.
You know, I think that's a good idea, because if we could have a little section there where we're asking questions from our listeners, that'd be dope. Since we have so many of them ready to go, you know.
Right, we totally do. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. And as always, please be excellent to each other.